Hey folks, I'm Rob.
And I'm Nathan.
And we are Two Guys in a Ride. Today we're excited to bring you another virtual car show featuring the garages, collections, and owners out at the Chanhassen Autoplex.
The Chanhassen Autoplex features a monthly summer car show the last Saturday of every month from April through September. Unfortunately, due to current circumstances, the May in-person car show has been canceled.
Well, that's where we come in. The good folks over at the Autoplex invited us to film several garages and see the collections and meet the owners. That's where we're headed right now.
But before we do, every month the Autoplex gives back to a different charity. And this month's charity recipient is Happy Tails Rescue of Minnesota.
Happy Tails is a non-profit organization dedicated to rescuing homeless and abandoned animals.
By working with committed volunteers, foster homes, local veterinarians, trainers, and boarding facilities, they are able to rescue dogs and cats, providing them with loving temporary care until a well-matched and carefully screened forever home can be found.
So please consider making a donation at tailsrescue.org.
Also, give us a like and click on the subscribe button down below and ring the bell notification so you never miss a video.
That's right. So what do you say, Nate?
Oh, let's go for a ride. Hi folks, I'm Nathan, the Two Guys in a Ride, and today we are back at Chanhassen Autoplex, taking you on a virtual tour of a number of garages. We have 9 other videos that are already up, so if you want to go and check those out, you can click on the link above. And today I'm here with Terry. Terry, thanks for having us in your garage.
Well, thank you very much. The first thing that I want to do is I want to thank you guys personally.
Well, thank you, Terry.
Yeah.
On behalf of Two Guys in a Ride, thank you very much. We appreciate that. And we appreciate being out here. So, let's talk about your garage.
Okay.
So, you'll see here in just a second a picture of what Terry's garage looked like when he bought it. And so he has done absolutely everything in here. And so we're going to take a tour and we're going to talk about the garage and we're going to talk about his cars. So
let's start with how I got here. It was a Thursday night in November of 2009. I have a buddy of mine who is a car enthusiast. He's a muscle car guy. He must have been here for the November Cars and Coffee at the event here. He told me, he said, you got to go out to Chanhassen to this Autoplex thing. It's just crazy. So I said, yeah, it sounds like great fun. So Friday, I was retired at that time. I went out Friday and I came home in the afternoon and my wife had a full page and a half out of the local newspaper about the Chanhassen Autoplex. So I called the developer. I come out, made an appointment, came out on Monday, met with him, he took me through his unit. We walked through everything and stuff. And from, walking 200 yards from his unit to here, I'm walking down the corridor and I'm going, man, this just feels really good. So I walk in the door and I said, I'll take it. Oh, okay. I had 3 other ones to show you. No, I'm taking this one. So I go home and I tell my wife that I bought the garage. She says, great. And I said, but I need to have you come out. At the time, she had an interior design business.
Okay.
So I said, you got to come out with me to help me figure out how to do all this stuff. Right. So one of her contacts was arts.com, where she'd go on and she'd look at pictures and posters and stuff for her clients.
Yeah.
So I'm going through there one day and I'm looking at posters and I see Beatles, Abbey Road. And I'm going, I had my buddy Mike McGannon, who lived down the street from me, came up one day and he had a Beatle wig on and he had a cigarette. And I said, man, that's cool. I had red hair at the time.
Okay.
But I had a hiney because I was a basketball player, and I just had my hair shaved. And so I go out and I get a Beatle wig. So Abbey Road, the Beatles, meant something to me. So then I go to college, and Bob Dylan, you know.
Yeah.
Everybody must get stoned. So that was appropriate, and I said, you know, I'll do that. So then James Dean, you know, dream as you're going to live forever and live as you're going to die today. It's always been, you know, like the live fast and do what you think you want to do. And then as I got matured a little bit, I did the country western, Johnny Cash and Alan Jackson. And, you know, it's funny because I sit here when people come, you know, and they look and they go, now what is all that about? And they go, oh yeah, the Beatles, I get that, I get Bob Dylan. And then, oh yeah, I get those country guys. And then there's Boy George. So what is Boy George? And the days of MTV, and, and he comes on Chameleon, that video, for whatever reason, I just tripped my trigger. So there's Boy George, and there's Willie Nelson, the outlaw of the country guys. So that's what that represents, because what I ultimately decided was, because I'm not the nuts and bolts guy, let's just do clean and simple, and let maybe the cars that I come up with do the story.
Yeah.
So then, from the memory standpoint, that's August of 1962. That's my brother, myself, and my sister. And the significance of that picture is we grew up, we had no car in our home when we grew up. So when my brother turned 16, we convinced my mom, who was 45 or 46, who never driven a car in her life, to get a car. We bought a 1953 Chevy, baby blue, beautiful car, 3 on the column. And she learned how to drive. That is a picture of the first car that I bought with my own money, a 57 Chevy Bel Air, $750. It blew up on me twice. It was white walls on the front, black walls on the back, the exhaust pipe hanging down because I didn't have any money. So that's the significance of that picture. And then I was a salesman on the road, and in 2008 I retired, and those are my sample cases. So it was Monday morning, I was going someplace, and it was garbage day. So I said, well, what am I keeping these sample cases for? So I threw them in the dumpster. My wife drives out, she sees it, goes back in, gets a camera, takes a picture, and we blew it up for the garage, you know, at the end of an era.
I love that.
So it was, and then these things are just fillers to fill the space, and I just like the detail part of it.
So one of my favorite ones is the one down here.
My grandson Liam hand drew that. My Bugatti. So, and it's got prime location, right?
Yes, it does.
All right. So that's the story of how I got here.
Okay.
Okay. Now, how did I get to the cars?
Yeah.
And so one night I'm sitting up in my office, and I go on eBay. Well, guess what? I found eBay Motors. I'm going, I didn't. So I'm looking through this stuff, and this car, 1939 Chevy Master Deluxe, comes up on the web page, and I fell in love with the fenders and the rolling.
It's beautiful.
I mean, it just, and the color was spectacular. It's my gangster car. I mean, it has, it's chopped 3.5 inches or whatever. So I'm looking at it, and I have no clue at what I'm doing. So I go on, and it's on there for a week, and I turn it off, and I go back, and I call the guy who was just outside of Denver, and I call him up, and there's a lady in Dallas trying to buy it for her husband for anniversary and all that kind of stuff. So I'm sitting there one day, and I hit the button that says buy now. I got the car home. My son-in-law owns Hennen Service Station in Shakopee.
Okay.
So I get in the car, I drive it over to the service station, and he looks at me and he goes, what did you do now? And I said, well, I got this car, and I said, I didn't drive it and see what you think. And he goes, okay, well, I think it needs a battery and an alternator. I said, great, that's not a problem. 18 months later, 18 months later, the only thing that is exactly what it was the sheet metal. is we took it to, the engine itself took it to a dyno shop. It dynoed out at 419 horsepower. One of my buddies, Bob's in New Brighton, he rewired the whole car. I took it up to Premier Upholstery up in Rogers, Minnesota, and he redid the whole interior. My given name is Thury, T-H-U-R-E. So my son-in-law has a vacuum license plate thing that when you start it up, it pops down.
Okay.
And the license is 39 for 39.
Yeah. I love it.
So that's 2004. So I had.
That was your first one.
So that's before I had the garage.
Okay.
Okay. So now I get the garage.
Right.
And it's like, okay, now what do? I got to put something in there. So replace the 57 Chevy is the goal. So I'm on the eBay Motors again. Needless to say, I was a little gun shy about hitting the buy now button.
Yes,
because of the experience with this thing. So I see this car, and what I would do is I would print it out, and it had like a week on it or whatever it was,
Right.
and then I would wait until the time elapsed, and then I'd call the guy and say, is it still available? So this one didn't sell on eBay, so it was just outside of Dallas, and I have a buddy of mine that I worked with who lives in Dallas, and I called him up and I said, you know what, can you do me a favor? There's this car that I'm looking at, can you go drive it and see what you think? And he goes, I got one better than that. My buddy Bill is a Chevrolet dealership owner.
Okay.
And I said, do me a favor, go out there, buy him lunch, I'll pay for it, just give me
an idea about the cars.
Yeah, exactly.
So walk into this 39 problem again.
Yeah, exactly. So, a few hours later, he calls and he says, you're making a mistake. And I said, well, you know what, thank you for looking at it, I appreciate it. And he said, no, Bill says you're buying the wrong car. I said, what do you mean I'm buying the wrong car? He said, you should be buying the 66 Corvette. And I said, 66 Corvette? So oh yeah, that's a pretty cool kind of car. So I called the guy up. No, the 69 Corvette's not for sale. Long story short, the 57 Chevy and the 66 Corvette show up on a transport like a month later. So I get them both. So this car is all original, what you look at it, but it's got a 350 Ramjet suspension, rack and pinion steering, transmission, stabilizer, all that kind of stuff.
Wow.
So it goes down the road extremely well. So
it's beautiful.
It's fun.
So it rides as good as it looks.
It really does. Yeah, it really does. So this was 2010, right after I got the garage.
Okay, so now you got to fill with two cars.
I got two cars.
But we didn't stop there.
No, we didn't stop there.
So what was your next car?
So then I find, nostalgia James Dean, 49, 50, 51 Mercury, okay? So find this online. It's in Florida. I don't know anybody in Florida. Well, we're going to Florida, for vacation.
Okay.
So I do the same thing. I take a picture of it, and it didn't sell. And I call the guy and make an appointment. When I'm down in Florida, I see it, and now it's here. And again, I had the license plate: "Dream as you're going to live forever, live as you're going to die today." And
I like that.
Yeah, and this is completely original. Flathead 8. 3 on the tree, as we used to call it, overdrive. So then the next one is what's iconic to me, the 32 Roadster. So I'm online again, and you can see them anywhere from $12 to $200,000. It's like, and I have no idea what I'm doing. So I stumble across this place called Brookfield Roadster in Brookfield, Ohio. Okay. And they manufacture components. I mean, they build cars, or you buy them and then you build them. So I called up to see about just buying the component parts and having my son-in-law put it together. So I'm talking to the guy at the factory, And he goes, well, we got this, this coupe that we built for SEMA. They built it for SEMA 2012.
Oh, that's neat.
So I said, well, send me a picture of that. And he sends me a picture of that, and I fell in love with it. So being a salesman as I was, I send the president this big, long email about the community that I'm in, the car shows, you know, I can use it as advertising, you know, I did my best to give him the whole pitch to get a better price on the car. And I didn't hear anything. I didn't hear nothing. About 6 weeks later, I get an email from him, thanks for your interest, rada. I saved a little bit, not a lot. But this is a 350, and the car weighs like nothing. And I mean, it goes really fast. So, you know, that is the classic, and it's basically nostalgic. You know, it's my nostalgia, right. You know, what meant something to me.
You.
And then in 2016, I went to get my other car serviced at the dealership, and to get an oil change and stuff. So I walked back to talk to the salesman that I do business with and stuff, and I'm walking through the staging area, and there sits a GT in yellow. Okay. And I've never seen the car, and I'm going, so I go get Don, and I say, Don, what is that? He says, well, it's the road legal copy of the Black Series race cars. Oh yeah? How do you get one of them? So he figured it out. But so in 1968 was the first year that I bought a brand new car.
Right.
And it was a 1968 Dodge Coronet.
Okay.
Okay. What I didn't know was that was the start of the muscle car era. I was 21 years old, had a baby, worked 3 jobs, and for the next 40 years, I didn't know anything about cars. So this started my muscle car era. So the first one I had was a coupe.
Okay.
It was called the GTS. Mm-hmm. I think I might be lying about this. It's 507 horsepower. Okay. Last spring I went, and this was sitting on the showroom as a convertible. It's 535 horsepower.
Just enough to get you down the road.
Yeah. And it's and I fell in love with it, so I got it. And it is a hoot. The only
It has to be.
Oh my goodness. The only problem with this car is these cars hate it. Because since I've got it, they're sitting more than they used to.
All right, so now you built a mezzanine.
Yes.
Up in here. So can we take a walk?
Oh, absolutely, sure. To keep with the theme of just simple, not, you know, just kind of plain and just simple.
But it's very nice. You've got a place to lounge up here. You've got a table to sit at if you want to. If the family wants to play games or eat. You've got, you know, entertainment. You've got a bathroom. You've got a refrigerator.
Yep, and a little bit of closet. So, you know, and then to continue with the compulsive addictive behavior, I'm a poker player, so that's my.
So that's the tie into the poker.
That's my tie into the poker, and then the cowboy is tying into the cowboy, and then in the bathroom I have Harley Davidson and some old.
Some throwback to your motorcycle days.
Yeah, and then I have a couple pictures of when I was in high school basketball.
So, Terry, if I had to ask you if you had like one favorite thing out of this, and it can be very generic, it can be, I just like being here.
Yeah.
What's your favorite thing about this garage?
Well, to have, my favorite thing is when we have the events and the kids come out.
Well, Terry, thank you so much on behalf of Two Guys in a Ride for spending your time with us today. We really appreciate it.
You know what? I loved it. I absolutely loved it.
Awesome. Thank you.